He's no Batman, but he's commanding Gotham. Today, we're going to dive into the Penguin series starring Colin Farrell and the future of the DC. Okay, anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm Jerome. I'm happy to have you guys around. As you could tell, we're going to be talking about the Penguin series this episode. Maybe various thoughts and maybe what it actually means or where it goes from there. Anyways, thanks for joining. And yeah, okay. So yeah, the Penguin series, I was recommended multiple times. It's been everywhere. Everyone speaks about it. And, you know, I was skeptical because sometimes these, what do you call it? No, comic TV series, well, at least recently, hasn't been quite hitting the benchmark, especially from the DC universe. So I was 100% hesitant, but I think it was maybe some clips on, what do you call that? X now, right? X. And I think it was also Instagram where they were showing how Colin Farrell basically transformed. So I was like, oh, hold on, who's playing Penguin? Because the picture that I see and the guy that I know Colin Farrell to be, this does not align. So yeah, that kind of piqued my interest. So I decided to give it one go, at least episode one. And, you know, it was just fascinating how sometimes method acting goes where it goes. And that one really went somewhere where I was not even expecting. Um, yeah. So up until now, I would say for me, generally in the series, I would say the acting, especially of some of the main characters, has been brilliant. Like unexpected level of because some of the storylines I don't even know in detail as most people would probably know it, especially like how the hangman, who's the hangman, how Sophia Falcone became the hangman, so I mean it's definitely a fascinating series to watch, and I feel like everything about it was engaging and worth it. So I would definitely recommend it to everyone. Um and definitely I had some thoughts about, like, I guess where the series is going and what you probably can learn from the series. So I think one starting with how, yeah, how Penguin became Penguin. For me in general, the series showed that even from the perspective of someone who was a bad guy, you can you can sympathize with him. But there's also a next aspect of the series that definitely piqued my interest, where it was like how you would see you watch every episode thinking that this guy is going to be killed, wanting this guy to die. Actually, I would say that's maybe one of the reasons why I continually watch the series. Like each episode, I was like, okay, so this is it now, because it is labeled to be a mini series. I don't know if, based on the ending, it might not be just a mini series or it might be just a spin off. But in general, I think the way it was played was fantastic, man. And I don't think everyone acted great, but I would say the few that definitely stood out for me was um, Colin Farrell for sure, Christina Milioti, who acted as the hangman's daughter and not hangman. That part is still a bit vague for me. And Victor. Victor grew on me actually, because in the beginning, okay, so how do I? I'm thinking about how to go through this because, there are all parts of it where I feel like I want to address, but it's going to be kind of jumbled. So let me try from the start. So it started with basically with Penguin killing the son of Falcone. This is shortly after Falcone has died. He was like a mob boss, a mafia boss, or he's a leader of a certain region, a gang leader of a certain region, and has two kids, which is Sofia Falcone and Alberto Falcone. However, Sophia at the time was in a mental institution, while her brother Alberto was out. So Alberto is more like the party guy, and he was the one that kind of got the promotion, more or less. And I think the Penguin saw that as an opportunity to manipulate the guy and work up the ranking, right? So working up the ranking would be like, okay, like you see this guy, he's probably easy to work with, easy to talk to, easy to convince, easy to get into his head. So I think the Penguin attempted to do that. However, we experienced from the first episode his tempo when someone, plays like kind of belittles him, and he ended up killing Falcon. So imagine the gang boss just died, and now the heir or the next upcoming, the son of the previous mob boss, you just killed him. So now everything is kind of in limbo. And then in comes Sofia Falcone. Now, before this happened, after he did his job and Penguin did the job of killing Alberto, the kid Victor and a group of his friends were actually trying to steal the rims off Penguin's car and got caught. Only Victor got caught. And 100% believe me, this was in the first episode. And I thought it would have ended with Victor dying. But Victor helped him. He used Victor to get him to somewhere, to almost be like an assistant, almost be like because he saw how afraid he was, because he was going to kill him actually. And then I don't know for what reason he kept him around. And they both went about covering the tracks of the evidence and the information about Penguin being the one who killed Alberto Falcone. Tune in from the fresh from the mental institution, Sofia Falcone, who apparently from flashbacks in the series noted that her dad was the hangman and he killed her mom via hanging. And, you know, but somehow the dad, who favored the daughter at the time, ended up, when he realized that the daughter was smart enough to investigate all these killings to multiple women via hanging, um, started putting one and one together, or started piquing her interest, and she actually started speaking to investigators and reporters in secret, of course. And this is a flashback, and then the dad in turn kinda, no, 100% fucked up, literally put her in the mental institution, saying that she's the one that's the hangman, which is crazy because they went through the whole mental process of it, white psychiatric, where while she was young, she saw her mom hanged, and therefore she tries to perpetuate this habit. I just did what Victor did. Victor has a stutter. Yeah, she tries to perpetuate what her mom did, and this is why she does this to her victims. Like, clear story, like building on it. Mental, but it was really good. It was really good, and I think that storyline built up a lot, where you can now see that there is an arc for Sofia Falcone, who eventually, like a gangster, being as smart as her dad said. And I think, side note is that I think her brother is the one that kind of got her out. Her brother and the doctor. There's this doctor, Julian Rush, he's a character. I think he acted well too because he flows. I don't know what other word to say, but he's not totally on one side and not like his values flow. Because believe you me, at one point in time, he was the doctor that was taking care of Sophia, as in one of the assistant doctors in the mental institution, and watching her going through the whole process of them making her seem like she has an issue. and then questioning this, and then helping her to get out, then supporting her, and then when, spoiler alert, Sofia Falcone eventually killed her whole family, um, and then he went there to work for her. You get the whole trippiness of this guy and his loyalties, and from there when she killed him now, she started, because of being in the mental institution, which shows how smart she was. um she started to sell a drug, or at least the source of the drug, you know um yeah. So from there, I think but the next thing is that Penguin has a mouth on it. Like, this guy is an orator. He knows how to speak anyone off the ledge or onto the ledge. So I think with that, you saw moments where, as I said, you were sure he was going to die, and he spoke his way out of it, or at least spoke for long enough to get out of the situation, which I guess all in all is still, an achievement, more or less. And yeah, so from her doing that, they started working together. That the next thing is the fucking whirlwind of how many times you saw Penguin switch sides. He switched sides so many times. He went with Falcone. He started with the Falcons, it seemed. Well, no, I'm just realizing how many storylines are there, because the storyline of his mom. So this kid was a fucked up kid from he was young. He always had the bum leg, right? So I think that played into a part into his self esteem, or how, yeah, how sensitive he is to things that people say. You know, when he was younger, he practically killed both his brothers, because they were playing a game where he would have to use a ladder, and with his bum leg, it's not easy, and he could have fell and died. And his reaction to that was to lock them into a tunnel. And he went home happily with his mom. Crazy. And the thing is, the next twist of it is that, so the mom now is always like, the perspective you get in the beginning is that the mom was always like supporting him, and always like, yo, you're the best, da da da, and always want the best for him, or want him to be the best. Coming to find out close to the end that she knew that he killed her sons. And she kind of brainwashed herself into believing, based on what a gangster told her back then, was that this guy does not need a father figure. He needs his mom to worship him, or to feel like he is the savior for his mom. And yeah, in that, she kind of trained him, or allowed him to do his activities, knowing that, you know, this was the story. Like, even as in, she was, I think she was considering to get him killed, which alternatively didn't happen. But we still haven't seen. We still. I'm curious about how that part plays out too. You know. Anyways, one of the main reasons why I do want to talk about the penguin is people how people process things. Not saying the same exact thing happen in real life, where you lose your life, because you know I mean, they're murderers, but like, these type of murderers are crazy. Another spoiler alert is that Victor is going to die. Now, how do you think Victor died? Now, they made a big play. They made such a big play that Sophia went back into the mental institution, and he flipped one of the triads, the Asian group, drug team, or gangster team, whichever one it is, into killing their boss. Well, most of the other, what do you call it now? Say, for example, all of Gotham is split into six pieces. All the other dealers and gangs, he got them to flip on their boss. So he used all the second, because he moved from being a second and wanting to be the head of everything. So he became the kingpin via that way. You get what I'm trying to say? So you know how crazy it is for someone's mind to understand the psychiatry, or the mental state of these second in command, because these second in command aren't usually, especially, when you watch TV and the stories about how gangsters operate, it's never usually like the child. It's never usually the son of the gang, the head of the gang. The head of the gang usually wants their kids to be away from it, and then you would see a guy or a kid with the same panache or the same, vibe of what you probably had, and be like, yo, yeah, that's the one. And you take that one under your arm, but you keep them secondary. And he used that play with, where he got the play from? From Victor. Victor told him, like, this is how it feels. Mind you, in this little microcosm, Victor is the secondary part to him as a kingpin. But interestingly enough, from what we've seen so far from Victor, he had no interest of becoming the kingpin. Sad to say, Victor died. And he died because Penguin loved him. The Penguin loved Victor, right? But killed him, which is crazy, because he doesn't want to get hurt. Via betrayal, via actual, takeover or something of the sort. But the mental capacity you must have in an effort to do this is beyond me. Like, think about it. This person, one, you know this person values you. As in, I think he went as far to say he loves him. He became his father figure. And I wish I would have found out why his parents died. As in, what caused his parents to die? Because Victor, the place where Victor is from, is totally run down now. It was flooded out. No one knows why as yet, you know. But that what the penguin became for Victor was one of the reasons to like the penguin. One of the reasons. And you could see why Victor was loyal to him. He was scared, but he was loyal to him. But I think it's one of the worst skills. It's one of the worst skills. But over time, you get to see the penguin become the penguin. Which one's the right way to say? Anyways, outside of that, then there become an amazing twist at the end, which we saw. So Sophie Falcone, the hangman, quote unquote, is back into the mental institution. Mind you, the penguin could have killed her. I still don't know why he didn't, but he. So now she's back into the mental institution and got a letter from someone delivered to her by the same doctor who's. I swear, this show is such a twist. It's such a twist, and I don't think I can. I can talk about this without someone else, because I feel like I'm a bit all over the place. But it's really fascinating to see how this, because the letter that Sophia Falcone received was from her half sister, who turns out to be the Catwoman. So this might not just be a miniseries, but more of a spin off. And the spin off would be to, you know, yeah, the spin off would definitely be to go to Catwoman. But at the end of it, you also saw Victor, whose mom is now in sorry, not Victor, the penguin, whose mom is now in a coma, and unresponsive. She is he got like a very fancy place, dressed really fancy. Actually, I think wearing a penguin suit finally. um, after being told to clean up because he's now going to verge into manipulating politics also. Um, the woman that is love interest in the show, which is also weird. And when I was watching it, I was like, yo, this woman looks like the mom. Looks eerily similar to the mom. This woman now apparently is fulfilling his complex, because his mom now is persona, well, not persona non grata, but she's not functional. She's a vegetable. And with that, he does not have anyone to tell him, hey, you're good, or you're doing great, or you're the best. He has no one to tell him that. Therefore, this man has this girl telling him everything that his mom would have probably told him or anything he wants to hear, which is weird. How does it give you the satisfaction when you have to tell someone to tell you something? I don't see it. I don't think I'll ever see myself in that light where, that's okay with me. But yeah, I feel like the show went over a couple topics that was like, fascinating, and I'm wondering if I'm missing anything. I mean, okay, so for me, I would give this probably 8 out of 10 because there are parts of it where it's hard to continue watching. For me personally, my specific taste, I'm very different than that. But the evolution of Penguin is fascinating. Like to see where he came from being a driver for Sophia Falcone to actually now becoming the kingpin of Gotham, more or less. Which no, at the end of the episode, I was I was going to say that the last track was you saw the back signal being made. So is it going to be now Batman and Catwoman coming into the story and we move less from there? I think that would be tough to do with how Colin Farrell pulled off this role, but it's possible. But it's amazing. It's amazing that DC could do this. I think this is a big win by them, and I feel like I think it's great. I think on Rotten Tomatoes this has gotten like a 95%, and IMDb it's a 8.8, which is saying something, especially in these days. So yeah, the show in general was good. It had the right amount of like you know r- something that you feel like could be reality from a comic perspective. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think this might be the episode. Thank you guys for listening. If you want, you can tell me what do you think of it. What did you think of the Penguin? Have you watched it? Why haven't you watched it? And yeah, don't forget to reach out. Some type of comment, some type of review. That would be funny. But yeah, you can listen to it on the podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify. I don't think this is available on Apple as yet, but on Spotify, on YouTube, apparently. Um, on other platforms, you should be able to listen to this. But thank you guys for listening, and peace.